This was just Route 666. Hey guys, I'm late, I know, for this episode review of Supernatural, but I have a very good reason. It's actually really fun. I'm surprised how fun it is so far. But anyway, so I finally watched the episode this morning, and the whole time I was like, why does this feel familiar? Okay, the creepy clowns is kind of cool, but why am I getting this really familiar vibe? Why is there this kind of family that's reluctant to say this story about whatever's going on with this ghost? Why is this ghost targeting certain people? Now, that's kind of an obvious thing. Ghosts obviously target people, but why was it using children? So I was like, there's got to be a connection, a sort of a twisted, not more so twisted, but conflicted connection. And it turned out to be a guy who wore a bunch of animal costumes and hung out with kids, and the town, certain people in town thought that was too strange, or it was questionable what he was doing with these children, so they meant to scare him. In the end, they killed him. That's Route 666. Almost to a T. Because in Route 666, there was the car that was owned by that racist who hunted down and killed black people back in the 60s, and then those three guys took, and that one woman whose daughter Dean had a fling with, they went and killed him. They didn't mean to kill him, but they just hit him and killed him, and he then came back 30 years later as a ghost truck, and he took out those three men. That's exactly what happens. Almost the same sort of situation in this episode. So that was why when I was watching, I was like, this is a cool idea, but why am I thinking I've seen this before? And I have. Now, admittedly, there's over 200 episodes of Supernatural. We've seen the same thing many a time before, so it's not surprising when we see the same thing again. But Route 666 was better, and that's from the first season. However, they are still keeping this consistency of addressing things that are in the story, that are in the main timeline, which is, again, very much like Season 1, which I really am happy about. Even though it was like a 5-minute conversation about the cage, I'm still cool with that. So while the episode itself had a kind of a funny moment and an interesting sort of theme, it did, however, rely off of a previous episode, a very, very, very early on episode archetype, but it still addressed something, and it talked more about the cage. Admittedly, I wasn't very much into this episode, but the instant they started talking about the cage, I'm going to be a little bit harsh on this episode, but to be honest, and the fact that they brought back the sheriff, I thought that was kind of funny, and there were maybe a few moments here and there, but this is the first episode, I will admit, I really didn't dig. And I don't know, I thought I would dig a giant killing bunny thing, but I don't know, just the end result was lackluster, to say the least. So the only part that I really enjoyed in this whole episode, to be honest, was the talk about the cage. So in the end, I'm going to give this episode a 2 out of 7. That's harsh, I know, and I apologize, but that's just my thought, honestly. This episode, I'm just happy it wasn't a straight up filler episode that had nothing to it. Anyway guys, that's all from me. I'll see you guys later.
Buckle down.